Chrétien, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
You talk about lots of different things in the book, lots of different times and things that happened. I want to start with one, and that's NAFTA. So what did you make of how the negotiation unfolded?
What did I say? I said Trump cannot undo an omelet, and he will have to sign virtually the same thing. And it's exactly what happened. You know, they changed the name. That is his huge victory. The best deal ever signed by the Americans. But what happened? They changed some for the salary of the workers in Mexico. That, in theory, will help the Canadian workers. And they made a little bit of concession of milk. That was the same concession made by Harper at the beginning of the negotiations for PPP on the Pacific. The rest, that you change something in the mechanism of an organization that exists since 25 years. It's normal. The other reality, too, is all the rules you have, no, the Americans don't respect them. When I was there, we took them to court on softwood lumber many times. We won all the time, and they just said, so what? And today, you know, why is he still taxing aluminum and steel? Has nothing to do with NAFTA. You know why? It's because they cut the taxes for the rich and they need money.
In your book, you write about your friends, the Clintons. They're still your friends, Bill and Hillary Clinton? Yes. When Hillary Clinton lost the election, you had some tough things to say in this book about that. You say, it's very sad to observe the monumental error our neighbors to the south made in 2016. Do you still think that?
The view of America today is not the view that was America some years ago. You know, people don't take them seriously anymore. And it's sad. It's sad because it's based on, you know, the fact that they have a president who is like that. And, you know, they selected him, they have to live with him. But for me, I don't think that internationally they have gained anything with Trump there. I think they went down quite fast. But I might be mistaken, I don't know. You asked for my view.
Yeah.
But a lot of people laugh when you're abroad and you mention that name, Trump.
You call him in the book again fanatical. Do you believe that he is trying
you know, you're listening like me. As I wrote, he is responsible for the book because when I was fed up of some of his nonsense, I'll go to my table to gain back my serenity. So it's a reality.
Yeah.
So you see him today. You know what he said on the judge's problem and what he said. You know, making fun of the poor lady who went on national TV to tell her story. Come on, you know, I would not be proud if my prime minister would have done something like that.
36 years ago, this happened. I had one beer, right? I had one beer. Well, do you think it was? Nope, it was one beer. Oh, good. How did you get home? I don't remember. How'd you get there? I don't remember. Where is the place? I don't remember. How many years ago was it? I don't know. I don't know.
It's weird, though, because he still does have a lot of support.
But ask that to the Americans.
Yeah.
You know, it's life.
Well.
You know, like in Quebec, they changed the government. Never their economy was in better shape.
Yes.
They had the lowest unemployment in a long, long time. First time lower than Ontario. No deficit, something that has not occurred in Ontario. Big signs, we are in here. Nous embauchons all over Quebec. They've done so well that they had to change the government.
Well, what did that say to you then?
But it's democracy. Democracy is not a perfect system. And why? There will be thousands of articles or analysis and so on. But what is the reality? The reality is there was no reason not to keep this government in Quebec. But I was in Quebec and I could feel it, that they wanted to have a change for changing. It's a bit like when you have a car that is still good since 4 years, said, it's enough, I need a new car. You don't need a new car, car is still working well. But you buy a new car because you want to have a new car. It's not very rational, it's the way that people act.
The Premier Designate of Quebec, François Legault, got to work quickly. threatening he would invoke the controversial notwithstanding clause as a way to ban public employees from wearing religious symbols.
If we have to use the notwithstanding clause to apply what wants the majority of Quebecers, will do so.
Jean Chrétien is one of those who negotiated the inclusion of that clause into the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Here.
In the book, you talk about the notwithstanding clause and how it was created and why it was created. So why was the notwithstanding clause so important?
The notwithstanding clause is important because you have to declare that you're discriminating. How many normal person would say, I want to discriminate? It says what the notwithstanding clause is. Despite of the equality of this and that, I will do that. And you have to renew it every 5 years. So it was very seldom used. But it is there because, it was the only way to have patriation, and on top of it, it will not be better if you have a government of judges who are appointed for life. You see the debate in the United States today.
Fair. You said back in May that the government had no choice but to buy the Trans-Canada pipeline. Do you still think it was the right decision, even if now the future of that pipeline is less certain?
But, you have to sell our oil. If we don't sell it, somebody else will sell it. So if you say we should not use oil, fine. But when you put it to the extreme, we should not cut one tree, we should not dam one river, we should not put one windmill because it's not nice to watch, So we have to live with reality. We need heating in our house, and we need fuel to move, to go to work. Of course, it will not pollute if we were to all of us going home every night with dog team, but it might be confusing in Toronto a little bit. So, we have to live with reality.
And the fact that they have to now, this goes back to your previous job as Minister of Indian Affairs, that they have to go back and consult with a bunch of First Nations again to make sure that they are okay with things. If there are First Nations that still say, we still don't want the pipeline.
Yeah, but there is always a moment when you have to decide.
Yes.
You're elected to do things. Consultation is one thing. But consultation does not mean that you have to decide for the person who is consulting you. The responsibility of the government will remain the responsibility of the government.
Right.
There will always be people who will not like what you do because you cannot please everybody all the time.
Marijuana is about to be legalized.
I never tasted that. I don't know. I don't have a clue what it is.
Well, you were going to decriminalize possession.
I was for decriminalization.
Yeah.
I was not at that time for legalization.
But it's going to happen.
Because I thought that a kid having smoked a joint and to have a criminal record forever was unreasonable. The question of legalization, you have to understand that I was confronted with this problem 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's not today.
It's different.
Now they will legalize it in the United States before us. So I have no strong opinion. I've never tried it, and I don't intend to try it either.
You don't want to have a
No.
little? Do you still follow politics? You're up on current affairs and everything. Do you miss it?
No.
No. Why not?
Because I had enough of it. 40 years, the only thing I miss is question period. I love it.
Really?
Oh yeah, because it's a great institution. It does not exist anywhere. They have it in England, but the Prime Minister in England receives 48 hours notice before a question, and he is there only for 30 or 40 minutes a week. I was there 3-4 days a week, and that was always an hour that I was looking forward to.
Dites donc aux Québécois, comme vous avez dit aux Américains, nous sommes des séparatistes, puis vous allez en manger une belle.
It's fun. You either fail or succeed. If you gave a bad answer, you have a problem.
Well.
If you have a good answer, feel good. And you ask your staff. For me, I didn't have to ask my staff. Not at all. I would go there, and at the end of the question period, I would just do that. If it was dry, I had a good question period, and if it was wet, I had problems. So now I'm not too wet. So I survived.
Okay, we survived the interview. Good spot to end it. Merci, Monsieur
Thank you very
Chrétien.
much.
Un vrai plaisir. Merci, j'apprécie.